The Final Game is a fan-made audio drama made to represent the final Third Doctor story that was never made. Obviously, due to tragic circumstances, they were never able to make the Final Game. So some fans thought it would be cool if they made it themselves as an audio drama, and that's a really cool idea. I was really excited when I heard about this, and I was interested to check it out. And this, I believe, is a collaboration between Black Glove Studio and Studio Severn, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I think they've done a great job. This does feel like a Third Doctor story. It's paced differently because it is in an audio drama medium, and this is the first episode, and it's an hour long, and the pacing feels a little bit different than it would if it was in a traditional 1970s Third Doctor episode, because it's a different format. We're in audio now. We're dealing with different things. So naturally the story is going to feel a little bit different in terms of its format, but it very much does feel like a Third Doctor story. They have a fantastic cast playing these characters, and I think they've done a great job, because even though occasionally, you can tell that it's not the same actor, because obviously most of these actors aren't with us anymore, but the actors that they have are doing a great job of encapsulating who those characters are, and that's really the important thing, is that they feel like those characters, even if occasionally you can tell that it's not the same actor, and I think they've done a great job. Marshall Tankersley, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, plays the Third Doctor, and he does a great job. Sarah Wheatley plays Sarah Jane Smith, and she also does a great job. They do have good rapport together, and they're Jon Pertwee had 3 companions in his era, of course, because he had Liz, he had Jo, and he had Sarah Jane. So I have experienced the most at this point with Jo. Right now, I'm actually working my way through the Third Doctor era, and I'm 3 seasons in, and I've seen an episode with Sarah Jane, but most of what I've seen is with Liz and with Jo. And just so that you have an idea of where I'm at, I have seen not quite every episode with Roger Delgado as the Master. There's one that I haven't seen, and that is his final one from season 10. But every other Master story with Roger Delgado I have seen. But I just want you to know that, I haven't seen quite everything that Roger Delgado has put into this part, but I have seen most of it. And speaking of the Master, Terry Cooper plays the Master in this, and he does a great job. He might actually be the standout from the whole cast, because his performance of the Master just feels just right. It just feels right, and I don't know how to put it. He just does a great job, and he just really feels like the Master, and everyone does feel like their characters. Even the smaller supporting characters, they do feel like those characters, and I do think all of the actors have done a good job. I don't think any of the actors actually put in a poor performance or did not feel like their characters, but I do think the Master, Terry Cooper as the Master, was the standout. And Tony Filer, plays the Brigadier, and he also does a good job. And there's some more supporting characters, and everyone does a good job. I don't have everyone's name with me at the moment, but everyone in this cast does a good job. And I should mention that the artwork for this is absolutely gorgeous. It's really well done, it's beautiful, and there's not a ton for me to say about it other than it just looks gorgeous. And this story, we start off around Christmas time. There's I believe a Christmas party going on, and there's some great scenes in there, especially with Una. I do like how Una is utilized in this story. I'm actually not always a fan of how it's used in the show proper, but in this audio, it's used really well. Sarah Jane and the Doctor are hanging around Una during his Christmas party. He's working on something, and I do like how Una is utilized, and how we do see some minor characters just having these conversations that just feel like legitimate conversations, and I think that's all really well handled. And then before too long, things get more interesting as, well, obviously the Master shows up, and the story continues from there. And I don't really want to get into spoilers for this, because I'm not going to assume that you've heard this. But really, I would recommend that you listen to this, especially if you're a fan of the Third Doctor era, and especially if you have experience in the audio medium. I don't have a ton of experience with audios. I have only listened to, I think, 4 from Big Finish, so that would make this one my 5th one. But I really enjoyed this, and I thought it was well-paced, the characters were well-handled, the story develops in a really interesting way, and I'm very excited to see where it goes in Episode 2, which at the time of recording this, Episode 2 is already out, so basically as soon as I'm able to get this video out, which is really late, and I apologize for that, because I was requested to do this review, and I did try to get it out a couple of weeks ago, and just things kept getting in the way, so I'm very sorry about that, but now I'm finally getting to it. And I just want to recommend that you check this out, because this is a good fan-produced audio drama. I don't really have much to complain about. If I was to nitpick, there's a couple of points through just... the editing is really well done, but there's a couple of points where it doesn't quite fit together in terms of sound design and just certain aspects of dialogue that's recorded. But that's nitpicking, because the majority of this, over 95%, all flows together really well and works really well. There's just a couple of points where it doesn't quite, but overall it's really well handled. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the final game, Episode 1. This is a very enjoyable Third Doctor story. I wasn't expecting this to be a thing that I experienced this year, because I'd heard of the final game before, but I was really excited when I heard about this, and I was engaged listening to it, because it is an interesting story that develops interestingly, and the characters are really well utilized, and the story is well balanced, and the way this episode ends just makes me excited for Episode 2 and Episode 3, and I don't know how many, but however many episodes they make, I'll be here for. So yeah, this is a really well-made audio drama, and I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend you check this one out. And I am going to give the final game, Episode 1, a rating of 8 out of 10. So yeah, the final game. Have you listened to it? I sure hope so. If not, you should definitely check it out, because it is a really good audio drama. Seriously, go check it out. I'll have links in the description for all sorts of things, but at the top, it'll be the final game, Episode 1. And I recommend you check it out, and I hope you like it. I certainly did. And yeah, that's going to do it for now, folks. So I'll have links below to the Twitter accounts of both of the studios that were involved in making this, and as well as the YouTube channel for where the final game is being released. And yeah, that's gonna do it, folks. So I hope you check this out, but that's all for me. If you're interested in more Doctor Who reviews, I have loads of classic reviews up. I have some modern era rankings, all sorts of things, other shows. If you're interested, check it out. If not, that's totally cool, but above all, you should definitely check out the final game, Episode 1. And with that said, that's gonna do it for now, folks. So thank you for watching, take care, and have a lovely week.